I noticed this guy, Mr. Football Player, he's wearing that checkers, the black and white. That's Freemasonry. And they're exposed in initiation sessions. They put black and white into a bag, and that decides whether the person's accepted into the cult. Freemasonry was exposed as demented in the 1820s. Everything has basically unraveled like a hologram. David Bohm spoke of reality as folding and unfolding. So what unfolded through my shtick is how fake the internet, how COINTELPRO it's been. It's unfortunate that it's a dead end. The internet's a dead end. It's unfortunate. But it does show the reality of that, be it how they're all scripted, how it all fits the Snowden documents, how they steal. All they do is steal. They take everything. They don't footnote. They're just stealing. The people in control are just outright stealing words, videos, ideas, you name it. So here's this guy, Travis Kelce. Is that his name? He's the inspiration for why I'm making this video right here. I'm just talking into a machine. I've recently been able to break off from the magical hold the internet had on me. There's something called impulse, there's something called compulsion. To be Buddhist would be to experience neither. So, compulsion, we have to do something. Just keep that for things that are really compulsory. And then the impulse, we need to know why we react impulsively. And just having that question right there, bringing it to the forefront of consciousness, one can quickly realize the lack of oomph in impulsivity. I mean, it's good for improvising. It's got its place, but only in an extremely safe environment, which doesn't exist through internet anyway. And then the scumbags in control, they extend it into the reality of it, forcing people onto internet. It was a classic bait and switch. The internet was a good, fun. It was fun. It was. We all know it. It was exciting. It had great potential on the surface. It seemed it was a trap the whole time. And now the rug's been pulled out from under us. The classic cliche of that. And we're left feeling like there's just no frickin' way to ever come together as people, at least not through internet. And then if not through internet, then through what? Through what? There's nothing. There's only them. So to wrap this up, I'll just say that CUNT named Travis Kelce is a sick MFer, and with growing resentment against rich, shallow pieces of SHIT, people like him might want to tone it down quite a bit. And to any free Masons out there, you're not fooling anyone. The truth's out there. It's easy to find what happened in the 1820s. How all the secrets got revealed. And all the presidents have been Freemasons, so F this all. All the cops, all those fraternities. It's on the frickin' dollar bill. Every astronaut. So this is a very gaslighting existence. And I can tell by the tone of my voice and where this non-scripted speech is headed, I can tell this is not uplifting. It's not good at all. And it's just basically based on, earlier in the day I was triggered. I saw that at ASS WIPE, the football player with Taylor Swift, who's also a scum. I seen him wearing that black and white nonsense. So F them. They only have the illusion of power. No one believes them. No one believes in anything anymore. I look at I just plug in channels. I don't visit them anymore. I don't want to add to their page view count, and I'll just look at how low they're doing. I'll check in on Jimmy Dore. I won't click on his videos. I mean, the guy's disgusting, and he's always flashing his arms and pointing backwards, and all those shows are actually unwatchable. So if anyone noticed that, I pretty much stopped it. And the most recent one I did was more of the famous people like Rogan and Cenk Uygur and Piers Morgan. I think that the Daily Mail is pure trigger. All of it. I don't imagine there's anywhere to go for, like, one could go to the New York Times but it's gonna suck in its own way. Even the Guardian is trash. It's called manufacturing consent. So it looks like there are a few progressive outlets out there, but it's all nonsense. They're in on it. If they weren't in on it, they'd be cracking this story wide open that everything is scripted. So how are Cenk Uygur and Piers Morgan on the same payroll if they're in cahoots doing some 100%? And it's all of them are in cahoots. They're all getting paid by the same people. There's no real talking going on anywhere. My channel, my videos, they might be eccentric. They are eccentric and sort of out there, but at least they're unscripted and authentic. And I do have a master's in social theory. I pretty much know everything, but I'm never gonna be famous. I'm not gonna write it. I'm not gonna try to write up a book. Probably not. No way. I'm not trying anything really. Like, if things weren't so bad, I would try more things. I would be like my old self. I would try to original song and upload it and go, hey guys, this is me and I wrote this. No, because I know it's just going to be stolen. It's going to be stolen. I'll probably never find out. If I find out, it's like, oh, great. Trying to I mean, there is the idea to that where like you let them steal it and then you let them make your song go famous. But no, no, they ruined this. They them ruined it. They ruined it. The conspiracy is conspiracy theory. Has been going on. Everyone knows it since at least 2006, and then 2009 in that area where like the Daily Cost banned conspiracy theory. So this manufactured nonsense of framing the internet and what's going on in this thing, it's been totally scripted and rigged and heavy-handed. No one believes it. No one effing believes any of this nonsense. So anyway, the page views going down. Manhands knows that I busted her up as Dairy Queen Karen, and it's obviously now the same person. It just kicks in, and then as Freud said, no one can hide what's going on beneath the surface. None of us can hide it. It's gonna come out, and so it's come out to my eyes that that person. Manhands Dairy Queen Karen there, that I nailed it and she knows it, and now she just has to live with this she has to live with the fact that she's exposed garbage for flipping out in the Dairy Queen. All these people have to live with it because I realize like I don't get page views, they don't get page views. So basically what I turned this into was, okay, I'm gonna go into their heads. I'm gonna do to them what they're trying to do to us. And I did it. And I pulled it off. I don't know if I was getting help somewhere where the videos were getting directed to me, but I pretty much embarrassed quite enough. I mean, a lot of people. It starts to add up. I uh, I exposed others at Twitter, but I got banned there, and even though I'm back, it's Twitter. He ruined it. Elon Musk ruined it, and old forums from back in the day are all gone. They don't even show up in the archive machine too well, if at all. So it was a bait and switch trap. It was the search engines were incredible back in the day. They're arrogant MFers who don't think any of it, they don't think we're smart enough to figure things out. They don't think we can articulate any, they don't think we can prove anything. They don't think we have any reach. Well, basically, they end up with that we don't have any reach. That's all they have now, which is force, which is the name of an obnoxious username over at Reddit Conspiracy, who who they ban, they don't ban. So anyway, Reddit Conspiracy is down to like 500 page views, if that. And then one has to take into account like how many of those are fake? How many of those 500 that it says are online? How many of those are them ramping up the stats? Daily Mail. You think Daily Mail? Do you think people are gonna want to keep loading that crap, jamming up their computers? I don't think so. Not when it's the news there is crap. And like I said earlier, there's nowhere. The Guardian is its own form of crap. No one is blunt. No one tells the truth. No one. I'm not saying I'm 100% enlightened. I think I might be, but I'm not sure. What I think is going on though is that most people have too much of that sort of confidence. I'm caught in like the double bind of like, well, I want to help people. I want to promote their growth as for thinking, but I don't want to. These know-it-alls. There's this one know-it-all who's he can't wrap it around his head that it doesn't matter who the president is. It doesn't matter. It might seem to matter. Maybe Kennedy, maybe JFK mattered somehow, and they killed him. I don't know. I do know that JFK was Catholic, so he wouldn't. In theory, he would have been not too fond of Freemasonry, but we all know it doesn't matter what we're born into. That doesn't mean we're gonna stick to it. Although we're more likely to. So one can see how Barron Trump is already a carbon copy. One can see that none of the presidential kids ever break off and whistle blow. I think the grandchild of a tobacco company did that, so it is possible. The system is the problem. So it's not about blaming this person or that person. It's basically the military. It's basically the obvious things of how they raid Social Security, how they give, how all this money is put into war, how they can't even provide basics for that tax money. That the water and the food is getting really bad, and this is unacceptable. And I don't know why. I never understood why there weren't like, are there not any people in positions where they can make a difference? And so one hears about Bernie Sanders, and one is like, oh great, I really mean that, like great Bernie, there's hope then. But then you fast forward the 10 years and it's like, ugh, what was I thinking? Why did he cave? There was a guy in '68. I don't think he caved in. The guy who didn't make it, and they cheated him like the original Bernie Sanders. It was Humphreys versus well, I forget which is which. Maybe McCarthy. Sorry, probably the guy from Minnesota. They get the yeah. Like I'm starting to forget stuff because I'm not in academics anymore. I don't need to keep up on memory factoids. But in '68, the the guy you should have won, like Bernie should have won against Hillary. Everyone knows that Bernie got ripped off. Yet he caved in. He caved in. He didn't want to play. In the on the surface, they're like, well, he didn't want to be the spoiler. He didn't want to be Ralph Nader. Maybe the Ralph Nader thing was rigged too, because I listen to him, and now I don't believe in him either. I don't even believe in Noam Chomsky anymore. I don't. I don't. I gave up on Krishnamurti. He turned out to be a fake. There's this woman out there who looks just like him, and she was actually in the circle, and it looks like her father was one of the scientists, if I had to guess, because I have her name, but I'm not gonna make a big production out of it here. But anyway, like I was telling her like, I'm just saying this because I thought I'm thinking this might sound interesting. So yeah, I'm moving on to talk about something else, and not fixate on that Travis Kelce guy. But that'll be the clickbait. So right, I'm unscripted. No one can talk the way they do. I put them on mute, all those shows, and now I forget what I was gonna say. All right, I'm gonna have to hit pause and go back. damn, that the attention deficit, it really kills me. It's the thing that stops me in the tracks, not the autism. Okay, yeah, I was talking about some lady who looks just like Krishnamurti, and she even has a story of how she was having dinner at his table and offered him mayonnaise. And she's a Buddhist, and good for her. And her videos are pretty interesting and good. But I don't know. I don't think she. I didn't push it. I mean, she denied it. She said, "Well, you're not far off there." Thinking she was like, "My biological father learned yoga exercises from Kay." She's like the spitting image of him. I can't help but think, like, I could be wrong. I'm not saying I'm 100% uh, positive. I am on that man hands thing, though. And I'm not going to show that woman, and maybe I shouldn't have brought it up, but people are in denial. I am not in denial, I don't think. I still have there's no cure for what I have though. So even though I'm far less impulsive, it's like a Tourette's to it, and I can't guarantee that I'm not going to get triggered or snapped. I'm just too effing clever and proud. I'm just too fearless in certain ways to stay silent. That the black and white, the Travis Kelce thing. It's disgusting, and it's everywhere. And I already mentioned and went through it earlier, and it's pure gaslighting. This internet is set up as pure gaslighting. It was proven though. Snowden is exiled in Russia. Assange could be dying as I speak. In the slammer for no good reason at this point. Like, why are they going with the overkill? They already snipped him at the. They already chopped him down to size. He can't. Even if you let out Assange right now, what's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? Where's he gonna go? I mean, for WikiLeaks, is he even in good enough health to continue onward with that sort of thing? And would he be in over his head at this point? Like, if one just looks at the reality of it, Snowden and Assange had complete blind spots that led to their demise, that led to them not being that very effective. If I had been them, if I had been them, no frickin' way. I would have, if I was Assange, no frickin' way I would have already escaped. I'd be in Iceland, or I'd be somewhere where it would force an invasion. It would force a regime change. I mean, that's what Assange should have done. He should have tried to, now if Iceland's in NATO or something, I don't know, then, then it seems sort of pointless. But I think that's the only hopes. Like, I don't see Tibet as a hope. I don't think they're doing any good. And the one I think is Krishnamurti's daughter. She's into Tibetan Buddhism. It's like great. I'm afraid to ask about corrupt cults in Tibet. There's that one guy. I'd love to ask her about him. And Dalai Lama does some sick things, and how can anyone trust him? It fits, it wraps neatly into manufactured consent, which I heard Eric Fromm going into something like that. So I don't believe that Noam Chomsky and the other guy who wrote the book with him, I don't think they came up with anything. I think they stole that manufactured consent thing. I think unless someone is unscripted, unless they're blunt, unless they have no strings attached to anything or any institution, that they cannot be trusted. I don't think many people can be trusted. I think they're too far conditioned. I think the only hope is deconditioning. I try to show a way where that can be done, and a lot of it is being unscripted and master the breathing. It might seem pointless or woo, the word woo. Might seem kooky with no basis, but it works. It what it does by breathing. One immerses in the breathing. I have to stop soon because my throat's getting dry here. The breathing forces the person to immerse in the moment, which never lasts. Is time even real? So then it leads into philosophy. Is time even real? One can question the thought, is time even real? Like the idea popped in, it seemed the appropriate thought, next thought, but deep down, there's only reality. It's timeless. The things about us that are pertain to time are mortal. We do record. I don't want to think for anyone. These are my opinions. I actually believe them, though. So I think these are factual. But it is a good idea to let people think for themselves. Because that would include myself. Like, if I don't want anyone thinking for me, then I don't want to think for them either. Because then they might think for me. They're like, well, you're thinking for me. Why can't I think for you? It's like, well, all one can really do is breathe. So the breathing basically gets one to immerse into the share reality. The breathing the breathing is what keeps the things that are autonomic, all that stuff going on in our bodies that we take for granted. The breathing is what keeps it going. So by mastering deep mindful breathing, one not only becomes more adept at recognizing impulse and compulsion, they by breathing by breathing they're able to get outside of the brain, outside of any part of the body, and by breathing one can become whole, organic, spontaneous, moral, I think so, moral, ethical. Because if you breathe, you just breathe, and then looks like someone liked a post I put down. Um, um, then the attention deficit kicks in. So the breathing allows us to immerse into the body. The brain is still there. I think we're always going to record. And I guess enlightenment is coming to peace with uh, the brain body, that they're one. And by mastering the breath, and then by being positive, one must be positive, like a positive charge. I see a lot of negative, I see a lot of repetitive negative channels, and I'm thinking, what is that? Is that all them copycatting the other people? Is that COINTELPRO thing, like the incel thing got pushed? The men going their own way thing got pushed? I see myself get mimicked. They'll like copy the way they'll try to consume me. I get the feeling they're trying to consume me. It's like one of those backwater channels that I exposed. I won't name it. They're putting on cover songs. It's like, really? And they were doing that earlier. And the thing with Jimmy Dore, they did a whole mocking of me, of my channel. Like, what else could it have been? The thing with the Lon Chaney movie, he who he who got slapped. So like for a couple weeks or however long, I was like fixated on that movie. And then 3 weeks later, or whatever, I put it all together. So I've been working on that movie for quite a bit. And then like a few days after that, Jimmy Dore had a show, and I made a video on it. And it's outrageous. It was all about uh, is it Ben Shapiro, some personality like that. And it's like 10 minutes of him getting slapped. And I think they even had the Three Stooges involved in that thing. I'd have to go back and see, but it was clearly, so it's in my memory. We can't just forget things. But I think I figured out a way where their constant needling of me no longer does anything. Like I know what I can't. I know. I mean I outed John O'Donnell. Let's see who I mean I can make a long list. I got Cenk Uygur. I got them all. I got them all. I broke the internet. This is called breaking the internet. And everywhere is clamped down, or else we could just raid the whole internet with this truth that they're all scripted. Everyone could start downloading and cropping out and showing how fake it is. And I encourage people to do that now. If they not to get you in trouble, not to have you ruin your own life. Don't do anything to jeopardize your life. But me personally, I don't care. I know what I came up with, and I know that it's out there. I know that, like I wrote it in on my front page on my channel. I said slow down the videos, crop out their eyes. They're scripted. I just started. I have it set up where I won. I won. I won. I won. They went nuts. They started going Tai Chi crazy. Anyone can go into the archive the last year and see that on those shows how they were flapping their arm and how it picked up uh when I got into the breathing with the movement. I get no page views. They don't get that many. They don't get page views, relatively speaking. It's a huge, gigantic world, but it's a small world in which it's being rigged. So we wouldn't have to change. It's not about changing the whole planet. It's changing those big institutions, firing them, getting weeding. Like Freemasonry is a weed. It needs to be like it needs to be made illegal and kept out of it. They're the ones who did this. There's no other explanation for why nothing ever changes. Every president is a Freemason. Look it up. If you don't think Trump's a Freemason, you're naive. They're all Freemasons. JFK though, I'd be curious about him.